You don't lose your life to one catastrophic mistake. You lose it to the decisions you never make. A door opens. You feel it. The timing is perfect. The leverage is there. The moment is clean. And then your mind does what it has been trained to do. It multiplies realities. 10 outcomes, 20 risks, 100 imagined humiliations. You replay conversations that haven't happened. You draft perfect responses for battles no one declared. And in the time it takes to think it through, someone else acts. Not because they're smarter, because they're less addicted to certainty. Overthinking is not analysis. It's a ritual of delay, the ego's favorite illusion. It says, wait until you know. But knowledge is never complete, and the world does not reward completeness. It rewards initiative. It rewards whoever moves first and forces everyone else to react. Machiavelli watched power rise and collapse in real time. He didn't romanticize the mind. He studied people under pressure, where hesitation isn't a personality trait, it's a weakness others can smell. The slow decider becomes the controlled one. The cautious one becomes the predictable one. And the predictable one becomes property. Here is the cruel truth. Every extra minute you spend inside your head is a minute you spend giving the moment to someone braver, colder, or simply faster. While you build a perfect plan, the terrain changes. While you weigh the moral texture of each option, your rivals choose the framing, the narrative, the outcome. So this is not self-help. This is a protocol, a decision framework built for speed, clarity, and dominance, so you can move with precision while others are still negotiating with their fear. Because in the game you're in, hesitation is not safety. It is surrender. Let's begin. Your first enemy is not the world. It is the fog you allow to form inside your own skull. Overthinking happens when you treat a decision like a prophecy. You demand a guarantee. You want the future to sign a contract before you move. But power does not come from certainty. Power comes from committing faster than uncertainty can metastasize. Machiavelli would call your hesitation a failure of sovereignty. A ruler who cannot decide invites factions. A mind that cannot decide invites doubt, and doubt is not neutral. Doubt is a hostile force that breeds delay, and delay breeds vulnerability. So the protocol begins with a ruthless shift. Stop asking, what is the perfect choice? Start asking, what is the move that preserves my initiative? Because initiative is the real currency. The one who chooses the tempo controls the narrative. The one who waits becomes a respondent, and respondents do not shape outcomes, they explain them. Here is the first law. Decide on direction, not detail. Overthinkers drown in specifics. They want to know every step before they take the first. But the first step is what reveals the terrain. You do not get clarity before action. You earn it through action. So you choose a direction that can be corrected. You choose a move that creates information. You choose the option that opens more doors than it closes, and you choose it quickly enough that the moment is still alive. Ask yourself 3 questions and answer them without negotiation. What is the objective? Not what feels good, not what looks polite. The objective, status, money, leverage, peace, influence, name it. What is the first irreversible point? Most decisions are reversible at the start. Find the line where reversal becomes expensive and act before you reach it. Speed buys flexibility. What is the cost of waiting? Not in theory. In reality, waiting costs momentum. Waiting costs positioning. Waiting teaches others they can stall you. If you cannot answer these 3 questions, you are not thinking deeply. You are hiding. Machiavelli's decision protocol begins with a cold promise to yourself. I will not be held hostage by possibilities. I will choose a direction, move, and adjust. Because the fastest way to escape the trap is not to solve the whole maze. It is to take the first turn and force the maze to reveal itself. Overthinking survives because it pretends to be morality. You tell yourself you're being responsible, you're being fair, you're considering everyone. But most hesitation is not ethics, it is self-protection. You are not afraid of the wrong outcome, you are afraid of being seen choosing it. Machiavelli would call this the worship of appearance. The weak ruler wants to look good more than he wants to be effective. And the moment you prioritize looking correct over being decisive, you become governable by other people's reactions. So the second law is simple: separate consequence from reputation. A fast decision maker is not reckless. They are unmoved by the theater around the choice. They accept that any action creates noise, any move creates critics, any decision makes enemies. The question is not, will they approve? The question is, will this strengthen my position? Here is the protocol. First, define the consequence that matters. Most decisions are surrounded by artificial consequences: embarrassment, awkwardness, temporary discomfort, someone's disappointment. Those are not consequences. Those are sensations. The consequence that matters is what changes your leverage, your resources, your access, your freedom. Second, choose the criticism you can live with. Every decision purchases a specific kind of backlash. Overthinkers try to buy a decision that costs nothing socially. That product does not exist, so choose your critics deliberately. If you act, you'll be called aggressive. If you hesitate, you'll be called weak. Select the insult that comes with power. Third, move in a way that makes your choice look inevitable. Machiavelli understood something modern people forget. Authority is often retroactive. When you act decisively, people rewrite their interpretation of you. They call you confident, strategic, certain. When you hesitate, they rewrite you as unsure, manipulable, waiting for permission. Speed is not just a tactical advantage, it is a signal. It tells the room, I am not here to be judged, I am here to determine what happens next. Overthinking is the habit of mentally auditioning for approval. Machiavelli's decision protocol is the opposite. You decide first, and you let the world adjust its story to your motion. Because the most dangerous person is not the one who is always right. It is the one who acts as if they cannot be stopped. Most people don't overthink because they lack intelligence. They overthink because they are trying to avoid guilt. They fear making a decision that harms someone, disappoints someone, or removes an option from the table, so they keep everything open. They delay, they soften, they wait for a sign that absolves them. Machiavelli would laugh at this fantasy. Power is not innocence. Leadership is not cleanliness. If you want a life where nothing is your fault, you can have it at the price of never steering anything. So the third law is this: accept the burden of harm, not cruelty, not chaos, burden. Every real decision injures something: a relationship, a comfort, an illusion, a version of yourself. The overthinker keeps circling because they want an outcome without casualties. But decisive people understand a colder truth. Casualties are often the proof that the decision was real. Here's the protocol. First, name what must die: a habit, a distraction, a partnership that drains you, a plan that's been dead for months. Overthinking is often a funeral you refuse to attend. You keep pretending the thing might come back to life, so you don't have to feel the finality. Second, choose one priority and betray the others. This is where most people fail. They want to protect everything at once: money and comfort, freedom and approval, ambition and peace. You can't, not for long. A clean hierarchy of priorities turns decisions fast because it removes negotiation. When you know what matters most, the choice becomes obvious. Third, pay the cost immediately. The mind loves deferred pain. I'll decide tomorrow. I'll end it later. I'll start next week. But delayed cost compounds. The longer you wait, the more the price increases, and the more your fear learns it can control you. The decisive person pays up front and walks away lighter. Machiavelli's rulers did not hesitate, because hesitation created rebels. It created rivals. It created doubt among allies. In your life, hesitation does the same. It trains people around you to test you, stall you, negotiate you down. If you want ruthless speed, stop trying to be morally comfortable. Be strategically clean. Choose what lives, choose what dies, and accept that your authority is proven by what you are willing to cut. Speed is not a personality. It is a system. You hesitate because you keep treating decisions like emotional events instead of operational commands. You wait to feel ready. You wait to feel calm. You wait for confidence to arrive like permission. But confidence is not the cause of action. Action is the cause of confidence. Machiavelli's world punished the ruler who needed emotional certainty. A prince who felt unsure didn't get time to process. He got replaced. That is the fourth law. Do not decide from mood, decide from position. Your emotions are weather. Your position is geography. Weather changes by the hour. Geography shapes the entire war. So the protocol is this. Before you decide, you identify your position in 3 points. Leverage. What do you have that others want? Time, money, skills, access, information, reputation. If you have leverage, you can move boldly. If you lack it, you move quietly and gather it first. Risk. What can you actually lose? Not what your anxiety invents, what is real. Most overthinking is fueled by imagined catastrophe. When you define the real risk, the decision shrinks to its true size. Time. Is this a window or a runway? Some moments require immediate force, others reward patience. The trap is confusing them. Overthinkers treat windows like runways and miss them. Impulsive people treat runways like windows and burn out. Once you have these 3, you choose a move that matches your position, not your feelings. Then you use a weapon the hesitant mind hates. A deadline, not a vague soon, a hard cut. If you don't decide by the deadline, you decide by default, and default decisions are how weak people surrender without admitting it. Make it brutal. If I don't choose by tonight, I choose option A. If I don't act by Friday, I end the opportunity. If I don't respond in 1 hour, I decline. This is how you train your mind to respect time again. You remove the luxury of endless deliberation. Machiavelli didn't wait for certainty. He created inevitability. He acted, then shaped perception to match the action. That is your protocol now. Know your position, set the deadline, execute before your emotions can vote. Overthinking is often a disguised negotiation with fear. You don't ask, "What should I do?" You ask, "What can I do without losing comfort?" So you keep revisiting the same decision, hoping the answer will change without you changing. And that loop is the trap, the mind staying busy so the body never has to move. Machiavelli's protocol breaks the loop with one concept. Decisions are wagers. You are not choosing certainty. You are placing a bet with incomplete information. The skilled player doesn't freeze because the cards aren't perfect. He manages his stake, reads the table, and moves before the odds shift. So here is the 5th law. Make small bets fast. Reserve big bets for when you have momentum. Most people do the opposite. They delay small decisions for weeks, then make one huge emotional decision out of exhaustion. That's how careers collapse. That's how relationships end in explosions. That's how opportunities get taken by someone who simply moved sooner. Your protocol is to split decisions into 2 categories. Reversible bets. These are choices you can undo with limited damage, trying a new strategy, sending a message, applying, testing, publishing, asking, negotiating. These must be made quickly because they create information. You don't think your way into clarity. You prototype your way into it. Irreversible bets. These are choices that permanently reshape your position. Quitting, relocating, marrying, burning alliances, signing long commitments. These require preparation, but not paralysis. They require a decision window, a defined risk, and a decisive execution date. Then you apply the rule of momentum. If it's reversible, decide in minutes. If it's irreversible, decide in days, not months. And when your mind tries to reopen the case, you don't argue with it. You shut it down with a written commitment. I chose, I move, I adjust, because the overthinking mind loves one trick. It pretends reconsideration is intelligence. In reality, endless reconsideration is cowardice with good grammar. Machiavelli didn't seek comfort. He sought control of the board. Make the bet, move the piece, force the world to respond. The overthinking trap has a deeper root. You are trying to protect an identity, not your future, your image of yourself. You delay because you want to remain the kind of person who could choose perfectly. You want to keep every version of your life alive in your head because the moment you decide, you kill the others. And death, even symbolic death, terrifies the human animal. Machiavelli's world had no patience for identity games. A prince who clung to a self-image instead of adapting became a corpse with good intentions. So, the sixth law is this: choose outcomes, sacrifice identity. When you need a decision protocol, you must become willing to look inconsistent. You must become willing to disappoint the person you used to be. You must become willing to be misunderstood in the short term, to be unstoppable in the long term. Here is the protocol. First, name the identity you're protecting. The good one, the loyal one, the rational one, the one who never looks desperate, the one who doesn't beg, the one who doesn't fail publicly. Overthinking is often just this: you protecting a costume. Second, ask what that identity is costing you. Opportunities you never seized, relationships you never clarified, money you never pursued, peace you never earned, authority you never claimed. Third, decide as the person who wants the outcome, not the applause. This is where speed is born, because once you stop auditioning for a role, you stop hesitating. You stop asking, what will this say about me? You start asking, what will this create? Machiavelli understood that reputation is a weapon, not a shrine. Sometimes you appear gentle, sometimes you appear hard, sometimes you appear patient, sometimes you appear sudden. The weak cling to one face because they want to be liked. The strong change masks because they want to win. Your mind will try to punish you for this with discomfort. Let it. Discomfort is the sound of an old identity dying. And when that identity dies, decisions become faster because there is no longer a fragile self-image begging for protection. There is only strategy. There is only movement. There is only result. Most hesitation is not confusion. It is avoidance of confrontation. You don't stall because you don't know what to do. You stall because the decision forces a hard moment, saying no, making a demand, drawing a line, risking rejection, risking conflict. So you soften it in your head. You rehearse, you refine, you wait for the perfect wording that will make the confrontation painless. That wording does not exist. Machiavelli's protocol is blunt here. Clarity is cruelty to illusions. When you speak with precision, you kill ambiguity, and ambiguity is where weak arrangements hide. People who benefit from your indecision will fight to keep things vague. They will call you intense. They will say you're changing. They will ask for more time. That is the test. So the seventh law is this: make one clean statement, then stop talking. Overthinkers lose power because they over-explain. They negotiate against themselves. They add softeners, disclaimers, justifications, and apologies until the decision looks optional. The other person hears all that extra language and learns one thing: you can be pressured. Instead, you deliver a single, controlled sentence that defines reality. Here's what that looks like. This is what I want. This is what I'm offering. This is what I will not accept. This is the deadline. This is what happens if it isn't met. Then, silence. Silence is not emptiness. It is pressure. It forces the other person to respond to your frame instead of dragging you into theirs. It prevents the desperate habit of filling space with concessions. It keeps the decision intact. Machiavelli understood that authority is maintained by clean edges. If your boundaries are fuzzy, people will push until they find pain. If your boundaries are sharp, most people adjust immediately because they sense consequence. So when you feel the urge to overthink the message, the meeting, the breakup, the negotiation, the ask, remember, the more you rehearse, the more you reveal fear. The more you explain, the more you invite debate. The more you delay, the more you surrender initiative. One clean statement, one decisive act, then silence. That's how hesitation dies. Speed without control becomes chaos. So Machiavelli's decision protocol includes a final safeguard. Once you decide, you must lock the decision so your weaker self cannot reopen it at midnight, because that is when overthinking returns. Not in the moment of action. After the action, when the mind tries to punish you with regret. The eighth law is this: decide once, execute twice. The first execution is the external move, the message sent, the offer made, the boundary enforced, the exit taken, the call placed. The second execution is internal, the sealing of the decision. Most people forget the second part. They act, then immediately begin undoing their own authority with mental litigation. Did I say it wrong? Was it too harsh? Should I have waited? What if they think? That is how you leak power. You let your mind sabotage what your spine just achieved. So here is the seal. Write the reason, one paragraph, cold, specific, what you chose and why it serves your objective. This is not journaling. It is a legal document you will not emotionally renegotiate later. Write the cost you accepted. Name the discomfort you agreed to pay. Rejection, conflict, loss of an option, temporary loneliness, a hit to ego. When you name the cost, you stop treating it like an unexpected injury. Write the condition for revision. This is crucial. You are not banning adjustment, you are banning panic. A decision may only be revisited if new information appears that changes the leverage, the risk, or the objective. Not because you feel anxious, not because you miss comfort, not because the silence is loud. Then you enforce a rule. No reconsideration until a set date, 24 hours, 72, 1 week, whatever matches the scale of the decision. Machiavelli understood that indecision is not just slow, it is contagious. If you keep reopening choices, you train everyone around you to wait you out. You train yourself to believe your commitments are negotiable, and a negotiable mind cannot hold power for long. So decide, act, seal it, then move forward as if the past no longer has a vote. Now we come to the final rule, the one that separates fast decision makers from fast mistakes. Because hesitation is death, yes, but so is arrogance. Machiavelli's decision protocol ends with a blade that cuts both ways. It forces action, and it forces correction. The weak delay forever. The foolish commit forever. The powerful do neither. So the ninth law is this: act fast, audit faster. Most people fear audits because audits admit imperfection. They would rather be consistently wrong than publicly adjustable. But power is not the ability to be right. Power is the ability to recover before anyone else realizes you were wrong. Your protocol is simple. After every meaningful decision, you schedule a ruthless review. What did I assume? What actually happened? What signal did I miss? What signal did I overvalue? What will I do differently next time? No self-hatred, no emotional theater, only data. Then you apply the correction with zero apology. This is where Machiavelli becomes surgical. If a policy fails, you change it. If an alliance turns sour, you restructure it. If a strategy attracts resistance, you shift the angle. You do not cling to a path out of pride. Pride is expensive. Flexibility is lethal. And here is the final refinement. Measure decisions by trajectory, not by mood. A good decision can feel terrible at first. A bad decision can feel thrilling at first. So you judge by outcomes, Did this increase my leverage, my clarity, my freedom, my options? Did it tighten my frame or loosen it? Did it make others respond to me, or did it make me respond to them? This is the cure for the overthinking trap, and it is also the cure for reckless speed. You move, and you learn, you decide, and you refine. You do not freeze, you do not cling. You evolve faster than the consequences can catch you. That is how you become dangerous. Not because you never make mistakes, because you make them briefly and never twice. Subscribe and like if you're ready to live by decisions instead of dreams. Move with intention, or be moved without mercy.